So this is literally held together with duct tape, but this is the optics. The guts of this is going to be made available as a kit for around $500, the Oculus Rift. And you'll have to add a tracker, which is maybe another $100, and a copy of Doom 3 to put this all together. But it's still cheaper than the consumer Sony device on here. It's not broadly usable. There's no software support for other devices. But for a certain segment of the population, the hacker-maker crowd, this is going to be awesomely cool to work with, because there is, honest to God, cutting-edge research to be done on the ergonomics, the focusing adjustment, software integration with other titles. And these are things that people can do in their workshop that can make a difference in the next 12 months. And yes, somebody big is going to turn this into a real product in the coming years. I'm not sure exactly when, but there are still things that we as a community need to learn and understand and figure out how we want to do. You know, the language of what you do in a game differently for a head-mounted display, rather than just making tech demos, but making experiences that people actually care about. And we can learn all this in the next year, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you think that we get to the point within the next few years that it could go wireless, so you would be able to kind of
Absolutely.
like look around without tripping over the board?
You can either do it, you can do that today with wireless transmitters on here, still with the PC, but I think the future really is mobile technology,
the whole
where
thing being
you wind up, instead of picking up, you know, your iPad, it's all of this compressed into the goggles, where it's self-contained, battery charged on there. You just work it like that.
I mean, if it was running off like a PSP, you could just put it on the back of your head pretty much.
You could make an optics package on there to put onto a Vita that would be a similar thing. The resolution would be even lower on there, borderline unacceptable, but you can actually, that's a vast OLED screen, and I am halfway tempted to do that on there, just to have the self-contained thing like that, to be able to duct tape a strap onto that and put that on there with the optics, and it would be really pretty cool. Because what you can imagine there is that once you're untethered and you have an absolute position preference of optical, you could wander around an entire room. I mean, you could imagine a paintball place with everybody wearing a head mount where you skin the world around you in virtual reality. All these things that people sort of imagined 20 years ago were going to be happening. They didn't for 2 decades, but they really can happen now. Most of the dreams and visions that people talked about back then are within our grasp today.
Now, I heard you mention earlier that you were once you kind of put it out there and make it so anybody can make software for it, you expect to see people making their own software to get older games working on it. How fast do you see people working to get like some of their favorite shooters of all time, or even some of their favorite adventure games, just anything first person working with this kind of tech?
Well, so what people will have to do, if you've got an open source game, like any of the old id games, if you want to get, Quake or Doom or any of those things, you could actually integrate the source that I'll hopefully be able to release with those and do a native job like I'm doing here. If you have to work with closed source titles you can't hack on, really all you can do is pretend you're a mouse on there to get head tracking information. You can intercept D3D or OpenGL at the swap buffers time. You can apply the warping and maybe turn side-by-side 3D into the format that's necessary for this. So they'll be able to get some games working. But what's exciting is that I think once people see this and get that type of demo on there and see this isn't the crappy version they might have tried years ago on there, you can really make this like you always imagined it was, that we'll be able to get some buy-in from developers to get more modern titles supporting it.
Do you expect any major publishers to start looking at this kind of tech within the next few years?
Well, we're going to be kicking their ass demo-wise if they don't.
I'm imagining now a room full of people with demos instead of everyone using demos.
Well, this is going to be because I've got this integrated in here, we're certainly going to take this into our future projects. So anytime we wind up doing a demo, we're going to show awesome, amazing stuff in the conventional format, but then come on over and experience it in virtual reality, and that will cement the view for people in there. So that's how I'm justifying all this fun work I'm doing.
That's how you're getting the bosses to be okay with you in the workshop. You also said that you were thinking about trying to put like higher res screens in there. Do you think that would bump up the price dramatically, or do you think that it kind of will, as screen prices go down over the course of the next few years, it's going to end up almost balancing out?
I think that will track directly. I'm hoping that within the next few months that maybe there could be a higher priced option to get a 1080p screen on there. And we know we've got vendors that have much higher res ones that are in prototype stages, so that'll just be happening whether we do anything about it or not. But making sure that they can get it available in embedded form, and hopefully I can push more vendors on 120 hertz updates. That's the thing that's a lot more speculative, but I want to be able to have my other display that I couldn't bring to this, that is 120 hertz update. It's ridiculously expensive with those driver boards, but all I need to do is show Sony or show Toshiba or somebody on here, this is worth it. This is the difference between 60 and 120 hertz, so start doing 120 hertz. It doesn't really cost you anything.
And when are people going to be able to actually start trying to get their hands on it?
Hopefully, well, Palmer has a website up now. They offer Oculus Rift. I think it's oculusvr.com that has hopeful dates. He's probably a little optimistic on when they all might come together on this, but I hope we can have a bunch of these at QuakeCon, and maybe we can even have kits that people could buy. That might be pushing it a little bit time-wise, but it's coming pretty soon. He's got a few of them put together. It's really coming down to making 100 order batches for the LCDs and drivers and stuff. The stuff that adds up to a pretty reasonable amount of money. So he's trying to do a Kickstarter to kind of raise some of that. I'm probably going to we're going to bankroll some of maybe the sensor and Doom 3 stuff on there to put that in.
Sure.